Oh, thank you for turning that back on. I forgot. So what does it mean to you guys to get in the path of motivated buyers and sellers, and that being our primary job?
I think it means lead generation needs to be our one thing.
Okay, that's good. You know, I think everybody who markets in the entire world has this same kind of dilemma of they have to be able to find where the people are headed, and figure out how to get in front of those people so they can interrupt and be noticed. And you have the same thing, the same job, the same responsibility as a real estate agent. Is you've got to figure out where the people are, where they're headed, and especially your people, the people you want to work with, and who are interested in what you have to offer. And then at that point, how do you interrupt them so they pay attention to you? So like Tammy Sue said, our number one job as real estate agents is lead generation, because without leads, we don't have any sales and no business. So that is our business, is getting leads. So leads are everywhere. You'll hear this, but they're not always obvious. So you have to be kind of aware and be on alert for when they appear. Lead generation should be purposeful and intentional. Now, obviously, there are times when a lead will just pop up out of nowhere, and we're all grateful and thankful for that. But you have to do this with a certain amount of intent to be successful. This slide depicts a system to help make your lead generation more purposeful. We call this the message and method of your lead generation, the 2 M's. It's about having a message and using a method to drive that message to the desired audience. And again, the desired audience is super important. You don't want to be trying to focus on just everybody. So the message must, 2 things. 1, it must match your market. And 2, it must make an offer for a response of some kind. So how do we do that? Match the market by tailoring the intended message to the sentiments and market conditions of a target group in the area in which you're operating, you want to do business. And have a call to action that can be direct, like call me now, or call me right away, or text me, or indirect, like go to my website to learn more. Both of those would work. So what would be an offer that would generate a response? Now, this is an interesting question. What would make your phone ring or generate immediate responses to text or in social media? So this one, I do want some feedback. So if anybody has ideas of the things that make you want to pick up the phone to call, what are some of those?
You're saying what would make someone, like, what can I offer out to somebody that will make them want to call me, right?
I'm flipping it around just a little bit. I'm saying, what do you see in marketing that makes you want to pick up the phone?
Okay, just in general.
You want to call, because that's the same kind of strategy that will make other people want to call you.
Yeah, it's showing that they can fulfill something that I'm either interested in or have a need for.
Okay. And then in our business of selling real estate, here are some examples maybe that would work. Things about the neighborhood or a new house that just came on the market. Asking if somebody, like putting it out there, can you afford to buy a house now? Well, talk to me, and I have lenders that can help you with that. Do you know about the prices of homes in your neighborhood or any area of town? I've got just the report for you. Call me, text me, visit my website to sign up. Any of those things. So let's talk about the method a little bit. So again, the message is important because you're tailoring it for the audience that you want. You want to get in front of the people that you want to do business with. But the method, there's 2 primary methods of getting your message out to your group: prospecting and marketing. We talked about these earlier at the beginning of the lead generation segment. And this session will only cover additional prospecting sources. So when you're hunting for leads, you will find a lot of opportunities. So let's say you're at a coffee shop and you overhear a couple talking about an open house they just visited. What should you do? Honest question. This is something that I know people that do this. They're bold and they just literally go up and interrupt other people's conversations. But I'm curious what you guys think. How would you approach that if you heard somebody talking about real estate and you wanted to get involved?
I have no problem jumping into a conversation like that.
Okay, great,
It
Sarah.
embarrasses my children to no end.
Oh, that's
Same.
awesome.
Same.
Good.
Some depends on the conversation. Sometimes I just slide a business card, like if it's at the local little coffee shop, I'll just
Okay.
slide a business card and say, if I can help you, if you're not working with someone else, I'd love to. Or sometimes I'll just jump in and say, excuse me, I couldn't help but hear you. It is an interesting market right now.
Mhm.
Just have to be bold. My
Okay.
kids hate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, you drag them along with you.
They hate it.
So it's
You know, when I go through a drive-through, if somebody's great, I'll tell them you're really good at your job. I'm a realtor. Do you know anybody that might want to buy or sell?
nice.
And now that I don't eat fast food, I don't do it as much, but
Well, hopefully you eat like better food and you have like better servers even.
right.
Grow. Okay. All right. Well, here are some examples that they give. Is you want to follow a system of approaching, connecting, and then asking. So first, approach with a conversation starter. That's kind of the most important thing because it sets the tone for the rest of the interaction. So, for example, I overheard you talking about an open house. Are you looking for a home in this area? Or is there, like what Tammy Sue just said, if you need any help and you're not working with somebody, I'd be happy to help you out. You know, just kind of in somehow getting your way into the conversation politely and without being too pushy. I did that again. Sorry about that. Second, connect with the individuals in a way that supports, that builds trust and support and rapport. I'm sorry. One of the best ways to do that is with questions. So look for opportunities to be of service to people and to always ask them questions. Be curious about people because that is one of the most attractive things to them. Usually, people who are legitimately interested in them. So here's an example for that is to say, you know, would you like a list of homes for sale in the area? Or what are you looking for? Or do you live close by? Just trying to get more information, get that rapport going, and get in your own mind, get a little bit of a profile of what it is they're looking for. And then finally, if it's appropriate, ask to meet with them to learn more about the situation, to get a little bit more in depth. And don't forget to apply the Ford method to connect with someone and deepen the relationship. Are you guys familiar with the Ford method? Is that something you've talked about? No? Okay. So the Ford method is talk about the family, occupation, recreation, and their dreams. So in short, I mean, basically, those four things are just you being authentically interested in the people you're running into. And so that's, you know, pretty much what you do every day, except this time you get a little bit of intention behind it. All right, so are there any ahas so far? We've only been doing this for 10 minutes, but my slide says to ask, so I'm asking. Georgia, do you have any ahas?
Well, I hadn't heard of the Ford thing, so that's a really good way to like start a conversation and learn more clients and good way to like focus the questions, I think.
Okay, great.
Tammy Sue, I wanted to know when you were in the drive-through, did you hand them a business card or did you like actually ask them for like people's names and phone numbers that might need a realtor?
I just hand them the business card because they usually are in work mode and don't really
Mhm.
want to talk.
Yeah.
And yeah, it has worked for me. I live in Cresswell and there's a tiny little coffee drive-through and I have gotten leads from there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's amazing.
I've
That's
gotten
awesome.
to that way.
Nice.
And when I worked out in Junction City, there was a Dutch Bros there and I got one lead that way. So, I mean, it's not abundant, but they could pass that card on, and why not?
Okay. Welcome. How do you say your name?
Oh, it's Bo. Bo.
Oh,
Oh,
B-O? Oh, it's okay.
yeah,
I got
need
bad news.
mine.
It's misspelled on the screen, just so you know.
Okay. Oh,
So.
Queenie.
Well,
Hi,
welcome.
Bo.
Hi.
All right. So the next part of what we're talking about today is the prospecting versus marketing. So you guys have mentioned, I guess that's been mentioned previously, and we're going to go a little bit deeper into it today. All right. So I need somebody else to volunteer to read this one for me, please.
I will. Lead generation is a contact sport with simple rules. It means making contact with people through prospecting and marketing. From Gary Keller, Shift.
Awesome. Thank you. So what does that mean? Does that mean anything to anybody? You know, is that, we talk about contact sports all the time, right? And so just kind of changing it up a little bit here into the contacts being just talking with people, engaging with people.
Sorry to be a blabbermouth. I also think it means you don't just wait for the phone to ring. You know, that's what Jen, you know, teaches, and like, is she still on the Zoom? When she does, you know, her business planning class, that's something that I really got from that business planning classes. Don't forget about lead generation. You're setting your goals, but you don't just sit and wait for the phone to ring.
Yeah. And so Tammy, so I have a question for you, because you know, we've been doing this a little bit longer. Is lead generation easy for you at this point?
The new generation?
Is lead generation?
Oh, lead. No.
Okay. Yeah. This is something that's like, this is like any kind of muscle that has to be exercised and worked.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what the systems are for. The systems allow you to continue to do it without, you know, without having to think about it quite so much, I think. So if you, once you develop your systems, or you'll find a system that you like that somebody else is doing, and you can model that, that's really, really fabulous, because the systems are what allow it to kind of be a little bit on cruise control.
Yeah.
You know, it becomes a habit, and the habits and the systems work together. So
It's been hard for me, Bill. I mean, I'll put an Instagram post and people will ask a question and I don't see it for like 3 days.
Yeah.
My brain is really email. And, you know, my 9 to 5 job is mostly email. And so that has been super hard for me to learn to check those social media platforms for messages. And today, the most first-time home buyers are of a generation that they want instant response.
And so I have a question about that, because so for the people who are in that generation that are more onto the quick response thing, do you need the immediate response, or do you need immediate information? And I'm asking because they're slightly different things, right? So if you can go and look the information up yourself instead of asking somebody, is that easier? There's something to think about, I guess, is if there's a way for you to have that information available to your clients at all times, then that may reduce the amount of questions they have to send you directly. So, all right. Thank you, Tammy Sue. All right. So you guys have seen this chart before. Everybody you know and every lead you prospect for is somewhere on the graph. The question is, are they at the top, at the bottom? Oh, wait, I'm going to try a new thing. Are they at the top? Are they at the bottom? Or are they somewhere in between? Everybody's timelines and life experiences are different. It's your job to do your best to predict or understand where they are. So do you guys think that prospecting leads that are on their way up is the only thing you should do?
You said prospecting leads on their way up is the only thing that we should do. That was the question, right?
Yeah, is that the only ones you should go after?
No, I feel like you should go after all of them because eventually they will be moving or looking to move, and then it'll keep you in mind.
That's exactly right, Georgia. So every lead that you catch and build a relationship with is a potential buyer and seller at some point. And in addition to that, they can be a referral source even if they're not currently looking to buy or sell. So who do we prospect for and when? Everybody, all the time. So you guys saw this in session 5, and it's here again to remind you of the 2 methods for lead generating, prospecting and marketing, and that your business should be prospecting based and marketing enhanced. So why is it better to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced? Let's talk about that a little bit, especially when you're starting out.
I think prospecting is a more personal relationship building.
Yep. Great. Any other thoughts?
I don't think that a ton of people are gonna like reach out just based off of marketing, I guess is my first thought. I know I haven't responded to many marketing attempts, but a personal call or someone that I know or know through friends, I'm more likely to communicate with.
Okay. Yep. Great.
And if you're marketing and then they go to look you up and you have like no reviews or testimonies or anything because you're so new, they're probably not going to reach out to you.
Okay. When we started, we actually had friends who did not call us, even though they knew we were doing it, because we didn't have enough reviews up to make them kind of believe it, right? So yeah, that's a good point. Okay, great. There's a couple other things too. You guys touched on some great ones, but it's also because prospecting is essentially free and it simply requires your time to participate. Marketing typically costs money and it's more of a wait and see long-term method. Prospecting also builds a business that will thrive in down markets generally. So, oops, sorry, I keep hitting the mouse button down. The last 2 sessions were about open houses and social media. So prospecting helps support awareness and lead generation around the open houses, and social media can be both a prospecting tool and a tool for marketing both. So if you guys have your participant guide with you on page 9.5, there's the list of prospecting sources from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. So there's a lot of prospecting options to share your messages through or to with. So I'm just curious, have you guys, which of these have you guys tried so far? And if you're willing, would you share your experience? So I know that George is really quite new and just got licensed a couple weeks ago. The rest of you that I don't know as well, I'm just curious, have you done any of these? Or Georgia, you too, if you've already been jumping in. So
Really, all I've done so far is try to build my like sphere, and I sent out letters to those people to let them know what I'm doing.
Great.
Yeah, I'm only 2 weeks into this as well, so
Oh,
I'm
you too?
working on my sphere as well and trying to figure out all the different elements. I've got my list of to-dos. So I'm focusing more on making sure I'm a competent real estate agent But I already have 2 people who are potential leads, so
That's
or I guess
amazing.
their leads are potential moving forward. So
Yeah.
There
Anybody
are
else?
4 of these that I have not done.
Okay. That you have not done. So you've done all but 4. Okay. And what's your experience, Tammy Sue, as far as the best or the one that works for you?
Ooh. I would say community outreach.
Okay.
I served as a planning commissioner and on the Chamber of Commerce. And I just finished a term as a city councilor. So those
Nice.
relationships, though they took a couple years for people, like you were saying, you and Lori and your friend, when
Mhm.
I moved down here from Portland, people were like, oh yeah, there's a million real estate agents in the Eugene area.
Yeah.
So it was very hard. But as they saw me and I would be like, sorry, I'm late. I had a showing. Sorry, I got to take a phone call when we're on break. I have multiple offer situation. As people that I was working with in that volunteer time saw that I was busy, they started remembering that I was real estate. That's what I believe happened. So I would say that was the most.
Okay.
Right now, I am working on expired listings. I don't want to, because I'm the PB, I don't want to clash with any of my agents. So I don't want to go out on listing appointments and compete with all of you. So I've been
We appreciate that, by the way.
I've been focusing on expireds and my past clients. But when I first started in Portland, the door-to-door door knocking was huge for me. And then when COVID happened, nobody wanted to answer the doors. And so I guess in terms of number of transactions, door knocking's been the most successful for me.
Okay.
However, that has shifted since COVID. People don't want to answer the doors. That's been hard.
Yeah.
Just saying, key relationships, I haven't really focused on those, and I have not ever done a booth or a kiosk. I think getting out into your community and building your sphere is the most important, and I'm glad to hear George is focusing on that. I've told my buyer's agent, Kendall, I want you to send a letter to every high school teacher you had. She's only 20 years old. This is what I'm doing now. Just start building that sphere.
Yeah. It's easy to forget how many people you actually know unless you just move to a new area, But other than that, if you've been there for a while, there's a lot of people that you know, and so be bold to talk to them. Does anybody else have anything about here? Hi, Santosh. Welcome.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know I was unmuted.
Oh, that's fine. I thought you had something to say. Come on now. Now you're on the spot.
No, I
did the
didn't have
same
anything
thing.
to say.
Okay. Okay. We'll scooch on to the next thing here. So one of the questions when you see a list like this is, maybe how should you approach the list? Do you think it's best to select several things to try at once, or select just a single source that would be best to start out with and follow through? And I'll just answer this one for us. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of ways you can do stuff, and you can spend a lot of time spinning your wheels if you're not focused on something. It's easy to bounce from one thing to the next, and to give up kind of quickly. And so it's clearly the better solution is to pick 1 or 2 things and really focus on those for a while. Things that fit your personality, that fit where you are in life, and kind of where you are in the community too, like Tammy Sue was saying. Keller Williams surveyed top agents and found that in general, top agents focus on their 4 top sources and they get the best return that way. And the top sources are repeats and referrals from their sphere, of course, and their database. So looking at this list, which ones would you guys consider pursuing? So you already have at least one down because it's your sphere. So go ahead and if you have your participant guide, go ahead and circle those. and comment too, and let me know which ones you guys are considering.
What's been most successful for you, Bill? I mean, at this point, you're probably getting repeat business, but since you come from
Yeah.
the tech world,
I think primarily for us, we fall into that same category as everybody else, where most of what we get is through our sphere, and always has been. Lori, my bio said, we've been in here in this area for 50 years between the two of us. And we're very active in our church. We're very active in the schools and stuff when our kids were in school, and some small groups and things. And so a lot of it was that. And then for us, because we actually a year ago or less, we went through our entire history of buyers and sellers and to figure out where it was coming from. And other than our immediate sphere, the ones that were most successful are ones you already talked about, open houses. And actually one of them, which surprised me because I've never done it, sorry, is the door-to-door. I've never door knocked, but Lori's done it 3 or 4 times, and she's always gotten a really good response. So, if you're bolder than I am, that's actually a really good way to engage with people, and to get permission from people to keep touch with them.
yeah, I think the door knocking, when you have a reason, like Keller Williams has a recent listing in their neighborhood. That's a reason. Our brokerage just listed this house. Would you like to pick your own neighbor? And then also door knocking before you have an open house. You talked about that recently in another class, Bill, and you did a really good job of just opening my mind to that. Like I have this fear of like that people aren't going to answer the door, and I have this fear of rejection.
Mhm. Well, who here loves to be said no to? Just me? I'm the only one? No, obviously nobody likes that very much. So that's why we have to train our minds to know that every no is just one step closer to a yes. So, and if you can think about it that way, good on you. So, because it's hard. All right. So I'm curious, for you guys that haven't talked too much, is there any of these that you looked at and you said, yeah, I'm willing to give that a shot?
I am comfortable with the community outreach.
Okay.
So I'm already active in my community, so it's just bringing it into the conversation with
Right.
people. So that seems pretty comfortable place to start for me. And
Okay.
then after that, I put key relationships because I know a lot of the business owners in our small town. And then after that, teaching and speaking and booths and kiosks.
Okay. Thank you for mentioning that, because I forgot one of the ways that Lori and I, when we first started, got a lot of names, although most of them haven't been worked out really. They've just been on our list for a long time so far. Is we did at things like, we have neighborhood yard sales in Eugene. There's 2 of them, and they're entire neighborhoods that only, because of their HOA rules, can only have a garage sale on one day of the year. So it's huge, and everybody comes from all over the place. And we knew people in both neighborhoods, and so we set up a booth, and we had a big drawing for a big basket of something. I don't remember what it was, and we got dozens of leads from each one of those. Because if people are going to get free stuff, they're willing to share their name and their email address and their phone, and their physical address. We asked for all of it. And most of them put it in. Then we would deliver it later that day and let everybody else know. And that was really fun because we were offering something. They were coming up to us. We could engage a little bit, ask the Ford questions, about their family and their occupation, just things like that if we had time. So that was a good one for us too. Although, like I said, hasn't resulted so far in as much business as the other ones. Anybody else want to share real quick? All right. Well, thank you guys for, for discussing that with me. That's really good. All right. So we're going to do a quick, I'm going to run through a quick list of marketing options as well. We're not really going to talk about marketing today, not really elaborate any of these, but you can see pretty clearly that the difference between prospecting and marketing has a lot to do with money, with cash, with the cost and expense that goes with it. So you've got on the marketing side, you've got offline advertising, TV, newspapers, maybe stickers in your car or your emblems of some kind, billboards, the little grocery dividers. I actually know an agent in town who is on the grocery dividers. He's a great guy, but that's definitely marketing. He's spending money and doesn't know if anybody cares. So direct mail, we've done that a few times. Promotional items and swag, those are always good if you have a kiosk or a booth somewhere, again, to hand those out as well. So that's kind of fun. Or sponsorships. Sponsorships are a hard one for me because I love to support the organizations that we're involved in. And so we want to pay to be a sponsor. Like, we're happy to do that. The experience we've had so far is that doesn't result in much business. It does give your name out there a little bit, but people are pretty good at just skipping over the sponsors. It's good for them, but where's the stuff that I came here for? So, yeah. Anyway, there's something missing? Can anybody tell me what that is here from both of these lists that we did? It's a big one. You guys all know what it is. You just haven't seen it yet.
Maybe our own websites.
Is
Close.
it social media?
Social media. Yeah. So social media is not on either one of these lists because the list is taken from a book. It has not been updated recently. And so it's just not there yet. But so one thing to keep in mind, tying back social media in here with the marketing side, is because marketing or social media can be both a prospecting tool and it can be a marketing tool, is that Command does offer an easy way to set up Facebook marketing or advertising for a pretty low cost because it's kind of a batched cost. And you can learn more about it in Command. Or at answers.kw.com, or you can ask Mara, or you can ask me or anybody. Plus there's additional courses on Connect that will walk you through the process. So if you're interested in marketing on Facebook in particular, then that's kind of built into the Command system. All right, so the last one here is there are certain things that are both. So geographic and demographic farming, events, networking, Sphere, past clients, that kind of thing, and referral networks, that kind of thing. Those are all can be both. There's a lot of things that you can be prospecting at and be marketing it kind of at the same time. Or like a sponsorship is a good example. You can do it as marketing, and also if you can have a booth because of that, or you can be introduced because of that, you have the opportunity to do some prospecting as well. And open houses would be a good example also, where you're marketing the open house and then you're hoping to see people in person, face to face. All right, we'll talk about geographic farming in a few slides, as well as seminars, events, and referrals. But quick question, what's a common prospecting method to use with open houses? This is a pop quiz now.
Like having a sign-in sheet?
Okay, sign-in sheet's good.
Having your cards there.
Okay.
I had like this scorecard sheet that people wrote down feedback on or circled and like their favorite things about the house and that. And those were entered into a drawing for a coffee card at the local coffee house.
Okay, great. Those are good options. Good. There's one more thing that you can do to prospect around your open house, and that is door knocking. So if you look at some of the models for an open house, one of the things they really recommend is the day before you door knock the neighborhood and let them know, hey, we're going to be having an open house at this place. And the more people you can tell about it, the better. They get to know your face as a real estate agent. They get to see what you've done for their neighbor as a real estate agent. And if things go well, you have a pending sign up there pretty quick. And it kind of proves your value as a real estate agent. So door knocking for an open house, you have an excuse already. You're not just door knocking, you're there to tell them information. It might be busier tomorrow. The traffic might be a little bit worse tomorrow between 1 and 3. Or, that kind of thing. And people are curious normally about their neighborhood and about their neighbors. And so a lot of agents, as you guys probably talked about, will have an open house start a little bit earlier and have just neighbors come by for that first hour. So that's one other way you can actually talk to people and get them in the door and get them to know you a little bit. Okay, was there anything in this last section about prospecting and marketing that you guys found new or helpful or even ridiculous? Any of those would work.
I liked your garage sale booth. That was pretty cool.
Plus, it was really fun. So
I like that too.
sadly, we didn't do it this year. We were too slow in the draw. So, okay. All right, so now we're going to talk about referrals. A lot of agents miss out on referrals, and yet they can be an easy and lucrative source of leads. So imagine if leads simply came to you as referrals from your sphere of friends, your family, coworkers, neighbors, etc. So we're going to discuss a little bit the different types of referrals and the systems to put into place to make the most of the referrals. We're going to look at client referrals, agent-to-agent referrals, worldwide referrals, and business-to-business referrals. As I mentioned earlier, top agents rely on their sphere and clients as their greatest source of referrals. Some, maybe even 90% or more, is from referrals. It begins with setting the expectation with your sphere that your business runs on referrals and that you trust them to provide referrals of people they know who have a real estate need. So you set the expectation, but then you have to provide value. You must be deserving of the referral. Your sphere needs to know that you're going to take good care of those they refer to you. So the relationship with your sphere and your clients is meant to be reciprocal. You provide value, they trust you, they know the value you provide, and they refer their friends and family. The value exchange doesn't stop. So what are some ways you can provide value besides the 3 listed on the slide? This is a hard question, I think.
I get a little confused on the whole I'm not confused, but I think there's just this really fine line between rewarding for referrals and giving value to someone if they give you a referral. Like I get that I can't say, hey, for $100, I'll give you $100 for every referral you give me, right? Like that's illegal. But I can give them a gift card to a restaurant after they've given me a referral and build a reputation of doing that. So in essence, I am paying for the referrals once my friend says, hey, if you refer someone to them, she'll send you a gift card. It just seems like a really gray line.
I have something a little bit later on about that. And so Tammy, I'm glad you're here because you can maybe help answer this just in case I'm wrong. But my understanding, Sarah, is that you can give anybody a gift for a referral as long as the gift isn't dependent on the business that comes from it. So you can send everybody who gives you a referral $100 gift card or $100 if you want, as long as you don't wait until you find out if that's going to be business or not business.
Yep.
So you have to reward for the referral, not for the business.
You can't wait until it closes either. I mean, literally you could wait, but then that the consumer thinks it's tied to you getting paid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we want to stop. Now,
Yep.
there's very few ethics violation claims in this category, but you're absolutely right, Sarah. An immediate thank you when they give you the referral. Good referral, bad referral, you know, something, they want to sell a tiny home for $4,000 and not pay you anything. You still need to, still need to thank them. Maybe their gift card is a $5 Starbucks or Dutch Bros instead of, you know, a restaurant. But if you're going to reward referrals, then you need to not pick and choose based on how much you would be paid.
Yep. And I think that's where, again, we talked a little bit earlier, or mentioned the systems. Like if you have a system for rewarding referrals, then you're less apt to forget the ones that fall through the cracks or don't become business. But you can still prove that you've rewarded them for that in the same way you did other people that did turn into business.
In another class, they were saying like, basically that if you ask for a referral and you can't tell them that you're going to give them something, but if someone just refers someone to you, it's fine to reward it, but you can't be like, I'll give you a $10 gift card if you send me a referral or something like that. I don't know. It's confusing.
That's
That
correct.
sounds like a good way to go broke too. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, here's my whole address book. Give me a bunch of money.
Yeah.
So that's good to know that yeah, I wouldn't have even thought about that. I don't think actually, but yeah, I sent out gift cards this year already to people who haven't turned into business yet, or to refer the people who referred them, and they might not. So no, that's okay. I think the idea is you want to be able to prove, if it comes to it, want to be able to prove that you've been consistent with rewarding the referrer, you know, on a regular basis, and have it not be tied to closing. So, okay, one other thing is that when you getting referrals doesn't mean asking for them. Well, at least not just one time. Every time you connect, especially after you provided value. So other things that you can provide value for are being a problem solver for them. Anything related to real estate of any kind, can you help them with that? Providing an elevated service, something kind of above and beyond. We have a guy in our office down here who pretty much every listing he does, I'm pretty sure he power washes the whole house. You know, and that's good on him. He loves doing it. But that's an extra service. That's something above and beyond. And his clients remember that. And also sometimes just being caring and supportive. People who are going through the home buying or selling process for the first time, you know, it's pretty stressful, you know, and we have to get up in their business a little bit. And it's kind of an honor to be able to do that and help them out. And so we really need to focus all the time, in my opinion, on them, on the client. What is it they need? And sometimes they just need to be talked off a ledge. Or even if they're not a client yet, you know, they're just people that you run across that just need some support. So care. Just really, really be interested in the people around you. All right. So when would be the best time to ask for referrals?
When you find them their dream home and they're excited and happy to be in pending status.
Yep. That's great.
Before they start stressing out about the cost of the inspector.
Right. Yeah, I think any time that they're showing gratitude and they're excited about something is a good time to ask. And that might be like, I think what Tammy Sue has said is probably one of the best. And it seems a little bit counterintuitive to do it in the middle of a transaction. But you're going to have bumps later on, because it always, pretty much every deal has bumps. And so it's like turbulence on an airplane. It's just is going to happen. So that sweet spot right there where they're pending, they're excited, none of the bumps have happened yet. Not a bad time. Not a bad time to ask. And then, of course, at the end, once they've closed and they get the keys, is also a good time. So, or once they give the keys up if they're a seller. Okay. All right. So client referrals can come from agents as well. So you already know that some agents in your market center, you'll meet them from other brokerages as well while conducting business and going to events. You'll run into a bunch of other agents. And so you can get sometimes business from those agents as well. You might be wondering why another agent would refer a lead to you, especially if they're local. But there are some good reasons. One is they might just do listings and not do the buyer side. And so they want to give you the buyer side. They might refer somebody who's just a little bit farther from them than they want to drive. Or so maybe they have a home that's going to, a listing one that could be in Florence, and they don't want to cover that because it's too far, but you're willing to. They might work specialized price points or neighborhoods. Or an agent that doesn't want to do both sides of a transaction. So they're doing an open house and somebody comes in unrepresented and they're very interested and want to put in an offer. And the person who's listing the house and who is doing the open house doesn't want to do both sides because they think it's unethical or whatever. That's another chance for you to get some business from. I actually had an agent from a different brokerage this year send me a referral because it was that exact situation. He was in an open house. They wanted to put an offer in and he did not want to do both sides. So that was kind of neat. And so make sure that you're top of mind with the agents that you know, so that they think of you first when they need to refer it to somebody. You're competing with the other agents for their attention in the area. And so, anything you can do to kind of stand out a little bit, to be different to those agents is good. A lot of KW agents build their businesses with agent referral. So you can do it too, as long as you have a system of some kind. That's how an agent referral works. When an agent refers a client to you, you agree to pay that agent a certain percentage of the commission. And vice versa. When you refer a client to another agent, they agree to pay a percentage back to you. Referring clients that you cannot serve to other agents helps everybody. You, the other agent, and especially the client, if there's some reason you can't serve them.
Bill, would you mind if I speak to this super quick and then I have to go to another
Not at all.
meeting? Okay, thank you. I just wanted our newbies to know that you can help clients in other states. This is the way. So if you just moved here from Florida and your grandma and your aunts and uncles and everybody, your cousins, they all live in Florida and they have real estate needs, we can help you find a KW agent in Florida in their area and vet them. And you can refer that family member to that agent and you can receive a referral fee. You're allowed to receive a referral fee from another licensed agent if they're out of state. It's okay if the home, right now I have one going with an aunt in Pennsylvania. And so I've had Oklahoma, we have all the time. So if you have someone in your sphere moving out of state, or you have someone in your sphere who lives out of state, don't be afraid because your license is only Oregon. You can still receive a referral fee for vetting and finding them a good agent to help.
Excellent. Thank you, Tammy Sue.
You bet. I'm sorry I can't stay longer. I've got a hop on a meeting to try to fix a few little command issues we're having.
Uh-oh.
Thanks, Bill.
We appreciate you fixing all those. Okay, so there's a few agent-to-agent referral models we're going to review. First is grow. So begin by growing an agent referral network. Keep track of every agent you meet throughout the course of business. This is so hard because they're competition, and why would you? But reach out to agents in other cities and states, especially from locations where people are moving from. So there's another agent in our office right now who is really working on this, trying to build up relationships with other agents from other states so that when people move to Oregon, into the Eugene area in particular, obviously, he can be the agent of choice for them. So he's intentionally doing this, intentionally getting involved in some of the online communities. Manage. So you need to systematize your agent referral network by being purposeful about it. Again, intent has a lot to do with success. Just as with leads and contacts, build relationships and provide value. Make it reciprocal. They provide you referrals and you provide referrals to them. And then maintain your network. Keep your network up to date and stay in communication with network partners. Track all referrals going out and coming in. So I've done some deals with, where I've gotten business from out of state, and I've sent a referral check to other agents, just like Tammy Sue had said. And I was just wondering, can you guys think of other opportunities you have to make contacts with other agents outside of the area, especially?
Maybe at the Keller Williams like family events, isn't there a gathering?
That's a fantastic answer. A lot of people go to those events just for the networking. You'll see it. I don't know. You guys have a different Facebook page than we do, but on our Facebook page, every once in a while, actually, usually about once every two weeks, you see somebody asking, "Hey, who do you know in Nevada? Who do you know in Detroit?" And a lot of times, agents that have gone to these family reunions and stuff, they'll have met somebody, and they can give a name. So you want to be the person whose name is mentioned when when somebody in a different state says, who's going to be in Oregon, or who do you know in Oregon? And the nice thing too is there are non-Keller Williams events, and you can send a referral fee or get a referral from any agent as long as they're licensed. In fact, I'm trying to think. I think all of the ones who referred to me from out of state, except one, I think, were not Keller Williams agents. So, okay. So on command, there is the referral network option. Have you guys seen that? Just raise your hand if you've actually seen that tab or looked at it or anything at all. Okay, so you've seen it, most of you. So there is the option in command to, let's see if I can figure this out again. The little guy in the icon there, the little person, that's your referral network icon. And so I would suspect for a lot of you, you'll start getting, even if you're new, you'll start getting people saying, hey, we'd like you to join our referral network. And that's great because, you can, they're all Keller Williams and you can vet them a little bit based on the numbers and you can talk to people. And it's good to have that, especially if you can communicate with them. That's kind of the challenge. It's like, okay, they're asking you to be in the referral network. So what? At that point, you got to develop that relationship still somehow. But it's good to have because it's good to know if you have a client moving out of state that you can refer them to somebody who's trustworthy, and then be the trustworthy person here when somebody gets moved in.
So I have some agents that I've worked with in Northern California as well as in various locations throughout Utah. So I was just going to email all of my contacts a personal email about it. should I be going through this referral tab somehow instead?
Well, the referral tab in here will only be Keller Williams agents.
Okay.
So that's basically an intra-office or intra-agency way of connecting with other Keller Williams agents. So a direct connection is just as good or maybe better, in my opinion. Like if you know somebody who's an agent somewhere else, reach out to them directly. Direct is always better, even though it takes more time. It's always better. Okay. And if you want to be like Matt here in the office, who's really going after people he doesn't even know in other states, there are websites where you can track and search which states are losing people and where they're losing them to. And you can kind of, hedge your bets a little bit by focusing on states that have people moving into Oregon. But that's still a little bit of a long-term game for sure. Now, one other thing, in addition to what Tammy Sue said, is that in addition to out of state, we can actually have referrals from anywhere in the world or refer people to anywhere in the world. So if your family has a connection to another country somewhere, or you go there a lot, or you have friends there somehow that you met in college or whatever, you can absolutely refer somebody to an agent there and get a referral fee for that as well. So, and that's through Keller Williams also. I'm not sure how that would work if you were going across brokerages. That'd be a Tammy Sue question. Okay, business to business referrals. So another source for referrals is business to business. So I'm guessing that all of you have had a client or a friend ask for a dentist or a plumber or a hairdresser or something at some point in your life. They've been asking for your opinion on who's a good vendor, right? Like for example, we have a dentist that we just love, and we've referred probably 20 people to them, and so that's the beginning of a potential relationship that works both ways. So since you're already referring your sphere to businesses that you respect and that you trust, that's just a one-way referral, but you want to make it reciprocal if you can. And that has to do with having a conversation with those people. And so what does that look like? Well, you can help each other because you refer your clients to their business. So people just moving into the area or moving into the neighborhood. And then your business owner can refer clients to you. So if it's a handyman or my dentist, for example, and they're working with somebody on the table or the chair, and they mention that they're having to move, well, my dentist can refer me to them and recommend me to them. Okay, so we talked about client referrals, agent referrals, briefly about worldwide referrals and business referrals. Are there any ahas about that, or are there any things you wanted to dig into a little bit more? Nothing? Okay. All right. You're all like, it's after 2, let's go. Okay. Okay, so we have the next section here. We're going to talk about a couple more sources for getting leads. We talked about the different prospecting sources, as well as those that combine prospecting and marketing. So now we're going to cover a couple other ones: geographic farming and events and seminars. So a lot of agents choose to focus their prospecting and their marketing in a specific neighborhood or a set of neighborhoods, maybe, which is a targeted geographical farm. So are you guys all familiar with Nextdoor? The website, right? So let's see, you said you're not, Santosh? Okay, so Nextdoor is a social media site based on your neighborhoods. And it's actually, I believe Nextdoor is where Command gets the neighborhood functions of our app, our Keller Williams app. and all those neighborhoods that are in there that kind of, a lot of times they don't quite make sense to us. I believe that's taken from the Nextdoor database, although I'm not sure anymore. May have been changed.
That was
since
actually
then.
one of my questions because I'm pretty active on Nextdoor
Uh-huh.
and I give referrals and information out to people
Yeah,
all the time on
great.
there. So is it allowed for me to go on and make a Nextdoor post that, hey, I'm an active real estate agent in your area? Do they allow advertising like that on there?
They allow advertising because I did some advertising on Nextdoor probably 3 or 4 years ago, just for a little bit. So you can be a sponsored advertiser there for sure. I don't know the rules about what you can do if you're not a paid advertiser.
Yeah, can you just write in there, hey, this is me, here's my contact information? If
I
they'll
don't
take
know,
that
Sarah.
down.
I'm sorry. I can
Okay.
try to look into that.
You brought up Nextdoor, so I thought maybe you'd know.
No, that's great. That's great.
Because I haven't posted that yet, but it would make sense that I posted on there. So I don't know.
I seem to remember there was some kind of restriction on it, but that everybody ignored it. Because there would be people like landscapers and whatnot all the time, saying, I can do that. I think if you respond to a question, maybe you're allowed to, but if you're doing an original post, maybe not. But I'm not quite sure. I'll try to look that up.
I was going to say, because if somebody said, hey, do you know a good real estate agent? Then I could respond to that I'm an agent, but I didn't know if I could just put in, I'm an agent at Sunset Corridor, Keller Williams, blah, blah, blah. I'm not either, which is why it's on my list to ask.
Good question. And it may have changed in the 3 years since I was on it very much because as you guys know, social media companies tend to change things on a pretty regular basis without a lot of notice. So, a geographic farm is similar to Nextdoor in that you've defined a particular area that you want to focus on. And so when you choose to farm a neighborhood, it's important to know that it probably will not yield immediate results. This is a lead source. It's more of a long game, it's more of a marketing game, and you must be committed to keep working your farm once you begin. The people that I've talked to that have success with geographic farms, especially with mailing to them, which you don't have to just mail to them, but if you're doing mailers primarily, is that you need to look at 6 to 8 months before you get any feedback at all. So if you have a big list or you're just starting, that can be a pretty challenging thing financially. Choosing a farm involves some considerations, such as the number of houses and the turnover rate. So the turnover rate is how often do people move in and out of that neighborhood. There's certain neighborhoods in our area that everybody wants to live in, and the turnover rate's really, really low. And so it's really hard to get into those neighborhoods. Price point and several competing agents in the area may affect your decision as well. So once you've chosen a farm area, you'll devote yourself to knowing everything about the area, the history, the growth, especially things that are happening, road work that's coming through the area, because that's a reason to door knock and say, hey, you're going to rip up your road, and more. You'll become part of the community, and people will come to recognize you as part of their community. You're also committed to staying in communication with the residents and keeping them informed of all that's happening in their area. And this was a big challenge for us because we have a neighborhood that we walk our dog in, and it would make sense to make that our farm, right? And I realized I don't know what to tell these people all the time. Like, I don't know how to bring value consistently because there would be things happening that I felt like I should have known about, and I didn't, like, oh, they're going to be replacing the electrical meters or whatever. So it does take a little bit more dedication because you're trying to service that neighborhood, and you need to really kind of focus on that and know that it's going to take 6-8 months before something happens, probably. So, and there are certain neighborhoods that if you ask around for the agents that are familiar, they'll tell you who runs that neighborhood. We have a particular neighborhood here in Eugene that I have a buyer who wants to buy in there right now, and there's nothing available. But that neighborhood is basically owned by a big player in town who lives there. So almost everything that's listed there is hers. So what are some ways you can maximize your prospecting and marketing efforts within a geographical farm? Well, if we think back to the lessons on open houses and social media, consider your daily success system with conversations, adding context to your database, and sending handwritten notes. how can you make it all work well within a farm? It's a good question. And it goes back again to your systems. So set up a plan, do it with intent, start with just a few houses, maybe where you live or near where you live or an area you would like to live in. You might consider what you can handle for the long run as far as proximity, size, and cost. If you have a large geographical farm and you become the person for that farm, is it going to be too much? So one thing to keep in mind here again is that door knocking is key to farming. In the same way that door knocking optimizes the open house experience, it's super important to farming because you'll need to visit neighbors and introduce yourself as a resourceful agent. Don't be pushy, come from contribution, and offer something of value. And again, that could be something real estate related normally. For example, the home over on Minda just sold for over $700,000. That means that home values are going up. Or my clients, I noticed your roof needed some work. My clients seem to like Grace Roofing. And so again, that ties back into the business to business referrals. So you can use that leverage as well. General information on the area. So things like new construction, road work, changes in school codes, permitting, things like that. Or you can set up a discount with a local vendor for maybe neighborhood tree trimming, dryer vent or chimney cleaning. Individuals would pay for their own service, but you can get everybody's contact information to coordinate that with a vendor, or maybe hopefully get a little bit of a discount for your farm as well. So those are some things to think about in the geographical farm. And one more slide here on that. Door knocking is also good for doing charity drives, upcoming community events, or community activities such as neighborhood watch or neighborhood cleanups. So one more idea for you guys for prospecting is, at least in Eugene, the public parks can be rented or at least reserved. So if you are focused on an area and there's a park in that area, you can actually reserve the park. And then you can invite your vendors or your the people that you work with as far as escrow and title and lenders and your roof person and your yard guy and just all the people you would work with. And you can have an event in a public park that's reserved, and you can actually kind of control who's allowed to show stuff there. And that's something that we've been trying to do for quite a while, and we haven't quite dialed in how we want to do it. But that's something my wife is really, really interested in, is having a big neighborhood event that we sponsor. And yeah, that's up her alley, and it should be fun when we do it. And one last thing, since we talked about door knocking so much here, is keep safety in mind. Maybe have a fellow agent with you, or have a check-in time with people so that they know, or maybe someone can drive and just watch from the car, that kind of thing. So something to keep in mind. And it is interesting when you door knock, at least, Lori's done it quite a bit, like I said, and she'll get invited in for tea and stuff sometimes with people, which is kind of neat and kind of spooky at the same time. So, okay, 2 final sources of leads are through events and seminars, and we'll go through these pretty quick. You might not feel prepared for these yet, but they can be super lucrative as far as leads go. So events are get-togethers organized and are hosted by you or co-hosted. And some of agents are super, super creative when it comes to events. And these can be kind of big ticket things like renting a movie theater and having an event there, a client appreciation event, or there's one agent in town here who has a relationship with the University of Oregon. And so they actually do something at Autzen Stadium. So those are some of the big ones. But you can have some smaller stuff too, events that are meant to attract leads and don't have to relate directly to real estate. So a neighborhood park cleanup. So just ask people to join you to go to the park and clean it up. Here's what I'd never heard of before: family front porch photos. So hire a photographer and have him go around and take pictures of people on their porch, or their family pictures, and then send it to them by email, so you have their contact information. Virtual game nights, so via social media, collect names and contact information, and that kind of thing. So are there other ideas that you guys have heard that in the past that you thought were interesting as far as like neighborhood type of events? Or seen, even, not like if you've had somebody else, a different type of company, different type of business do something. No? Okay. Okay. I'm actually going to throw one out because because this is just an events kind of thing. We have a agent team here in our office who just had a dumpster drive. So what they did is they had a dumpster delivered to our parking lot over the weekend. And then they invited all of their clients in their sphere to come and just use the dumpster to just fill it up and not have to take stuff individually to the dump. And that's a great idea, I think, because no one likes to go to the dump. And also paper shredding. That's something that I've seen done before, is you having a big event with 1 or 2 people who are sponsoring it, and you hire one of those paper shredder trucks, and people just drive in, give you the box, you shred it right there on the spot, and off they go. And it's a great reason to reach out to people and to get information. Our lawn care guy just showed up out the window here at the office. Okay, seminars are another great lead gen source. You're seen as the expert right away because you're hosting it and you're telling people who are really interested things that they probably don't know. There's a story of one Keller Williams agent who moved to a new city where they knew nobody, and they began offering first-time homebuyer seminars, and they got immediate business. So leading seminars is a great thing to do. You can partner with a lender. We've done that before. You get people who are truly interested in what you have to offer. Yeah, it's a very, there's another team in our office here who does it, I think, about once a month. They're very regular and consistent with their first-time home buyers and their sellers seminars. It's a very good lead gen for them. Seminars are also a great way to diversify your database while you expand it, because there are underserved communities in every region. So what if you intentionally learn about those communities, their needs, and you set up seminars to serve them in particular? So an example is there was an agent who serves a community with a large Somali population, and many of them are devout Muslims. And so he hosted a training session with an expert on Islamic financing for this community, because with Sharia law, their banking prohibits charging interest. And so it's a whole different process. So that person, that agent, only expected 10 or so attendees, and she actually got 75 ready, able, and willing clients needing to buy or sell their property. So who would want 75 clients like right now? Okay, Georgia would. Okay, no, Jared's like, no, thanks. Too much. Okay, you can refer them out then, see, and you can get 25% or whatever, and it's a good thing. Everybody wins that way. And another agent that was fluent in Spanish started home buyer seminars with Spanish-speaking title attorneys and lenders to teach people about how home buying works, and built a large business for everyone involved, with upwards of 30 people coming to her seminars every 2 months. So 30 people every 2 months. So is that 180 people a year? Is that what that is? And these were people that came to the seminar because they were interested in what was being taught. So these are hot leads at this point. All right, where leads are everywhere, so don't discount anybody. Learn to love hunting for leads. Your business and your wallet will thank you. Just one other thing I want to throw out kind of quick is it's easy to make snap judgments of people, and to think, oh, they're going to be a serious buyer or seller, or they're not. And I would encourage you to really, really resist that, because people oftentimes are just not what they first look like. And so it's important to treat everybody the same with the respect and dignity they deserve, because they might surprise you. I had a friend who owned an art gallery on the coast, and there was one day that they were talking with an employee, and somebody came in and they judged her right away, this person, as someone who had no money, and it was a high-end art gallery. But eventually my friend said, I need to go and talk to this potential client, and she did. And she ended up buying thousands of dollars worth of art that day. And so she could have lost all of that. Sorry. She could have, somebody's in my office now behind me, so kind of creepy. It was Lori coming in to grab something. And she could have missed out on that sale and that relationship because she made a snap judgment, but she thought better of it later. So avoid snap judgments if you can. All right. I think that's about it as far as, yeah. So we are wrapped up with the material. And so I'm just going to really quick open it up and just ask if there's anything else that you guys had questions about. Sarah, I will try to research the next door question. It'll take me a couple of days because we are heading off to my mother-in-law's 80th birthday is this week. And so we're heading over the mountains to spend some time with her. So, but I will get back with you. Sarah, could you put your email address in the chat for me? Thank you. All right, does anybody else have any comments or questions or jokes or stories about their dog or anything? Okay. Sarah Dash Smith. I didn't know we were allowed to do dashes. That's fun. Mine's boring. Okay. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for your time. I hope there was some benefit from this for you guys. And you guys have a good afternoon. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank you.
Bye-bye.